6 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. We could all please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tina, you have the roll.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And we will need to approve this evening's agenda. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve this evening's agenda.
Thank you. A second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Being none, motion carries. All items on the consent agenda will be passed with one council motion unless we have anything we need to discuss.
I'd like to remove F, bill batch, and H, water.
Okay. Anything else? Then. You want to make the motion?
Motion to approve tonight. Minus F and H.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second that.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Counselor, to your question, F.
Yes, I noticed we have a payment to our regular law firm, which I recognize the name of. I also see we have a much larger payment to a different law firm, and I was wondering what that was for.
Can you identify the payment?
Yeah, it says Taft, Stutness and Hollister LLC.
Yep, that's our bond counsel. That's the payment for them for completing the go bond for the fire truck.
Oh.
That's their services rendered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't our normal law firm, so.
Nope.
Why I asked.
They specifically work with, doing municipal bonding.
And then, my question on the water bill was, similar to my question, I guess, the last month. I know I was surprised that we had bad checks of $445 as of February 5th, and now I see as of March 5th, it's up to 1,043.
Yep. Same,
Is that the same customer as last month?
2 new ones.
2 months. Are they physically bad checks, paper checks they write that don't cash?
In this case, they're NFTs or EFTs and have since been removed.
Since been removed immediately.
Like we do an ACH draw at the first of every month.
Yes.
Some people have the option doing cash, check, or charge.
Yeah.
They are included in that direct pull from their account, they have been removed.
From,
That account that they've set up with us, we have removed it from doing it an automatic case, yeah,
okay.
yeah. They have to pay us with another form of payment now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all of these were the ACH essentially bounces.
Correct,
So
correct.
this is a total of 3 customers?
Well, it's added to, this is year to date, so last month's and this month's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I don't recall it being that large in years past.
One of the customers had a fairly large outstanding balance.
And that as of now, they're still outstanding in this amount?
Nope, they paid cash.
Well, they have paid.
They're updated.
Okay, so would this total be like all of them about pay cash? Or?
If I can keep track, one of them paid with a different checking account, paper check, and the other 2 paid cash.
So essentially, we don't have any outstanding.
No, you'll see it on the top. It'll be in with a reimbursement or in the water revenues
Okay.
line.
Mhm. So in the future report, would this amount still be there or?
I always have to book it under an expense code,
Okay,
so it'll always show there.
so even like several months from now, we'll still say it though,
Yeah, because I book it all year to date.
even when they've been paid.
Yeah, because I have to keep the revenue and the expenditure separate.
Would you like to make a motion on?
I'd like to make a motion to approve items F and H.
Thank you. Second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is passed. Is there anyone for the Blackduck Forum? Being none, Tina. We take everybody in order here.
Yeah, you're not gonna have Mike present tonight. He texted me, his time got away from me, but he had not much to report except that the forestry lift station needs new check valves. And it had to be fixed, so it's gonna be roughly about $3,500. I'm assuming Minnesota Pump Works is gonna be doing the work.
We can move to part A of that discussion. Our web service.
Yeah, I'll let Tim talk on that note that he sent me for you guys.
So what we have is the Minnesota Department of Health is offering another round of technical assistance for the web service on the inventory. And that's because there were about 280,000 unknowns that were identified through this whole process in the state of Minnesota. And it was either because of lack of time, didn't have access to people's homes, or we didn't have adequate records. So what they're recommending is that any community that has unknowns, they reapply for the second round. By doing that, there's no obligation to that. What that does is it potentially gives us another opportunity to go out and go door to door to see if we can try to get more homes. I don't know if they turn up any more information on, what was installed on the street side of it, so we can deal with those unknowns. So we're recommending that we have the city apply for that, and it's only city staff that can apply, so it'll be Christina. And we give her all the information she needs, and really it's going to take 2 minutes to get the application put out. And so they're already talking about round 3, which would entail with potholing by curb stops, so then you can get the material that's on either side of the curb stop, so you can identify both of those lines. But we won't know when that's coming out. They still have to try to figure all this stuff out. So we just, with all the change that's coming in government, we don't know. We're suggesting that if you apply for this and you don't use it, at least it keeps you in line for subsequent uses that come forward.
And we would have our first round to go off of, so we know where to target. So
Yeah, so we went with that. And so we hit quite a few, I even went door to door here in town for 2 days, and we hit a lot of people. And so if we do the door-to-door thing, we'll have to just make sure that it's like after 5 o'clock. That's really when we noticed, we hit some people during the day, but you really got a lot better hit rate after 5 o'clock. So we recommend that. And as far as the, getting on the application for the PPL, we just were at a conference that they had for the Minnesota Rural Water. And there was a lot of questions regarding that. The Department of Health is still trying to figure this program out. So they're hopefully coming forward with a form and some more guidance so that all the communities are doing this consistently. So what we're recommending is that we hold off on that for another month here to see if the Department of Health can get that information out. So that we would recommend moving forward with that. And we already talked about that with the council, but at this point, I think we should just hold off for one more month because we haven't until the 2nd of May to get that. And so we have time.
About how many do we have left in Blackduck?
I just looked at that. The unknowns were at 114. And a lot of it is in the street side just because we don't have adequate records to document what was in the
On
street.
the street side, yeah.
Yep.
And the definition of potholing is digging down from the street, boring down to the location of the main.
Yeah, essentially they could use a vacuum type machine that I think injects water and then sucks up the soil, so it creates a hole so you can see down it. Maybe with the camera.
Because that's a fair distance.
Yeah, typically 8 feet down.
Yeah, it's that surface dig.
You know?
Well, that would be good to know, because, I know in my basement, for example, I have copper, and I've seen it in the trench when we hooked up the addition, but where it enters the antiquity out in the street, I don't know what it is.
Well, and Blackduck is a little unique in the sense that the residents are all the way out to the water main. And so technically, if we know what's at the water meter, it should be the same field all the way to the street, but this is being administered through the EPA, and so their rules aren't necessarily set up that way, so that's why I think it's a little bit of difficult in trying to get clear and consistent information. So, but those are some of the questions that we'll ask as we go through this next phase.
Okay. Just add it to the list, right?
I would extend that to me and that's on.
I'll send you the link so you'll get right to the site, and I'll have a form filled out with all the stuff.
Much like last time.
That's fine.
Perfect.
Thanks, Tim. Anybody else? Questions? Look at your store report.
Yeah, we get, February was good. I mean, it was, we top sales from last year. Last year's February wasn't great, but I mean, people were drinking in February because there was nothing else to do last year. But it was good. We started off our March, losing both of our fryers. We're down for about a week. And then, we came in and changed the thermostats on both of them. And there's a safety switch on the second one. And that is failed. So we have to, it's like a resistor. It gets to a certain temperature and it'll shut off the gas.
Like a thermal fuse.
Yeah, like a thermal fuse, where a little box costs $300, So we're still down to one fryer. I mean, we're making it through. Melissa and crew last weekend was their weekend and they got through it. It's not super busy right now, so if they were gonna do it, this was a good time to do. And I like both of them at the same time, but then I was like, well, we bought them exactly at the same time, so. The gentleman who came from Nailers fixed it, he said, after I visited you, he said, I went to another place in the exact same model, exact same thing and the same problem. Well. Yeah, great, yeah. So anyway, we're working on that. It'll be, I mean, we're looking at $1,100, $1,200 at the end of that. So,
Something we can have on hand.
no, I mean, that's what all together, what it would cost.
So yeah, well, that's
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to let you know that that's,
both fryers plus the call, plus
plus the service call, plus another service call, plus another service call. So it runs up, so if you guys see that next month in the bill batch, you'd be like, what were you doing down there?
We're hoarding parts.
No, I mean, the parts aren't super expensive, but the labor is, I mean, they gotta get paid to do it. And I've watched them do it and I don't wanna do it. It's really greasy. Arbit came in and replaced our cameras. We did a walkthrough, did some replacing on them, on where the positioning was. The difference between what we had and what we have now is, yeah, it's phenomenal.
So
You
you
can
can
take a,
4K on the TV.
you can take a, you can take it, mess with it a little bit, you can take a spot, crop it, pull it up. So that, let's say the till in the bar, the till in off sale, I can look and I can read what it is, 20s, 10s. And what the person is pulling out. I mean, it's very, very exceptional. We did only put in 14 cameras. We were quoted for 16. But when talking to Derek and John, there's not a spot that you can hide, the one in the off sale, fisheye. You can,
It's really neat.
it is, you
It's
can, because you
very
can
neat.
really look down behind things, really, look at it.
You can turn its view, so it's a landscape, like a panoramic on your phone, and see 360 across. So
Right.
it's not just looking down, it'll turn it so it's landscape
There's many
panoramic
views.
for you.
Yeah, like
So you can very well see everything.
right, it's like what they're saying is a fisheye, so you can rotate it around and look down. You can rotate it and look at the cash register, at the drawer, at the person. And with them positioned, every door on the outside
It's covered.
is covered. Every door on the inside is covered. So like, they come in the off sale, you get to see their face. They come in the on sale, you get to see their face. Back in the employees, we have 2 cameras. We have one at the door and then we have one at the corner so that you can see anybody who approaches the back door.
Is there a camera down the hall?
No. We didn't feel, we could, but I didn't feel they've gotta come in one of those doors. They can't not,
And in the office?
no. Christina made that recommendation to Artie. I was hoping to save a little cash.
Okay,
But and like, I don't. I don't care, we can have it in the office, we can have it down there, I just feel like it's redundant.
it's just that's where the safe is, that's where the pills are, that's where stuff gets counted. To me, that's an important one, the office and the hall, and that long shot going down the hall.
That's, up to you guys, it's your money, I guess, it's people's money, but. I was just,
Just my thoughts.
Well, it's gonna be sitting looking at a empty chair and an empty thing 22 hours out of the day, that was my only thought.
Oh, and that's what I meant though, is it's not always gonna be us sitting here, it's not always gonna be, I know Shonda. I know Melissa,
True,
it's not always going to be us. And we have
right,
to-
so you have to anticipate someone being less than honest in the positions that we're in right now, is what you're saying?
Or somebody coming through there,
Very good.
you have an active shooter or somebody comes waltzing right through there, that they can. Sure like to know what's going on in that little room. Or, or that hallway, once they get past there's nothing,
Well, there is a bathroom back there too.
yes, but we're not.
I'm just kidding, how far do you wanna go, like,
No. not
But
that
and that's perfectly fine. Other than that, I just wanted to say that those guys did a really good job and And by the time that they got it all done, it was like 6:37, so, they'll have to come back and install the other ones.
Okay.
Any other questions for me?
I think it would be worthwhile to have a camera on the safe as well.
Yeah, you don't, okay. All right, I'm just gonna leave it at that. The office is the safe, is basically what we're saying. Okay, I mean, we don't have a great big,
Oh, you don't have a safe, okay.
no, we have a little safe for our deposit and then our cash for our.
Yep.
The cash spends a lot of time on the floor.
Mhm.
Which has a
And-
very good view.
Right,
On the
and,
floor.
and then that transfer from till the office, then is covered 100%. And I'd also say that it can become, advantageous to both employer and employee if all interactions are on camera. No one can say, she did this, he did that,
Right,
somebody.
yes,
It's more than just cash too. It's safety of our employees. We don't know what's gonna happen. Somebody could push somebody into the manager's office and we don't know what happened.
Mhm.
God forbid anything happened, but
Right,
I don't
Okay.
want you guys to be a target.
And we're also concerned about what goes on when the employees aren't there, such as burglaries.
Right.
We wanna have-
right, but I mean, yeah. If they can get, well, and I mean, I don't know, but yes, if they can get by those 14 cameras without us knowing who they are sneaky, and they should be going after more than $1,500.
3%.
They should go to like a jewelry store. Yeah.
Not that we're
No.
trying to encourage, or
These people, we're not challenging anyone.
We're not
Sorry.
challenging, no,
Not
not
challenged.
challenging.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't have anything else, The hope is that they get the parts for the second one. Yeah. You just don't know, 2-3 days,
yeah, March
Generally.
isn't a great time of year and. For.
yeah, we're gonna be trying some new stuff, we got a new special out. That we haven't tried before, so far people are liking it a lot, it's like a Cuban pita melt. We just keep coming up with stuff, so keep looking at Facebook, keep stopping by.
We do have karaoke next weekend, this coming weekend, and bingo the 23rd.
Yep,
Yes,
We do have things kind of going on to draw people in on our slower time here too. So.
excellent. Any other questions?
No.
Any other volunteer information? You guys can get them? Other than concrete or parking lot or?
yeah, that's, that's just something that
Yeah, I know.
was, I'm just plainly, it was an inferior job and we're paying for it, that's.
I gotcha. Thank you, Shonda. Golf course, Misty.
Hello. I am projected to be open hopefully the first week in May. That's when I opened last year and then it started raining, so I had to kind of back it off, but that's what my plans are again this year. All my staffing needs have been met. I'm already fully staffed for the 2025 season. A lot of repeat people wanted to come back, which is really nice because it'll help me with some of the training. Making a list for some spring projects. We'll start going through all the equipment, clean up the course. We are taking on a bigger project this spring, replacing all the patio pavers. We're pulling them out and putting them back. So that'll happen right as soon as the frost comes out. The clubhouse is rented out for a couple of funeral like luncheons coming up. And I added a TV from the beautification project funds that we earn at the Ladies Scramble. I bought a nice TV to go upstairs so that people, especially like for these funerals, they've all requested it. And I have a couple graduation parties also, to be able to put slideshows up while they're having their service or whatever, so you can just look at pictures. So I bought that and that hopefully the public works boys will put that up for me, I think this week. 3 new carts will be coming, I'm assuming the end of April. That would bring me up to 30 carts if I keep everything, 12 gas and 18 electric. Everything's
did.
running well.
You didn't wanna get rid of 3 this year?
If I don't have to, the value of them, I do have a staff person that's coming that has a little bit of mechanical skills, and I'm hoping that if we just tune those up. 30 is kind of the ideal number for me, so I'm thinking of
You wanna
keeping
hold
it
it a year?
possibly. Yeah, I mean, especially if we can get in and take a peek at them and see, if they're worth keeping. Then it would just kind of put me at the right number for tournaments especially, because that's about what I'm short when it comes to a tournament. Or even on like some of my busy Saturdays, I'm always short like 2 or 3 carts, like, I'm just almost there, so I would like to keep them. If I don't, it's not a big deal, but I'll kind of assess that when we get in and look at them.
Okay.
The early bird memberships start April 1st. I already changed the prices on the website, so if somebody goes on there now, that already is reflecting the 10% off. And that runs from April 1st through the 1st of May. And then I'll change everything to our regular prices. Our memberships did not go up from last year. So that'll start in April. And in other news, the Blackduck school, it doesn't really reflect us, but they have 19 kids signed up for their golf team this year.
Wow.
Compared to maybe 7 that they had last year. They hired a new coach. And I think that might have sparked some interest, and he's offering morning practices, so we might see some kids down at the golf course early before school, even hitting some balls and doing some of that stuff, and after school. So
Who's the coach this year?
Danny Hender. Yep, so 12 girls and 7 boys is who's out this year, and they can they can play golf and they can still play softball or baseball or track. That's why the morning practices, so they can still participate in both. Yeah, and that's it. I just starting to get the ball rolling down there and get things cleaned up and start scratching the surface. I see the greens are already melted off. I was gonna we have deer out there pretty bad, but I'm hoping they're staying off the greens, but
Of course they are.
I know, they get out there and start kicking everything.
On my number 1 green, like the first day, it's
I
like
know.
really nice, and I'm like,
Get off of there. I know, yeah. Yeah, the reels will be delivered, I think, the end of April from MTI, and that'll kind of kickstart everything for us.
Did you need a golf board meeting?
Sure, I don't care.
I'm asking you.
Do I need one?
Do you want one, need one?
I'm open
Have
for it.
anything
I would
that's
not ever say no, because I know that it's proper procedure, so.
Before we, sometime,
We sure can. I mean, if we want to get together
April.
sometime before, yeah, during April,
it's fine.
keep everybody on the same page. I'm open for that.
I can work with you on that. Let's do- Try to find a date that's work.
Might as well, since it's gonna snow again anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
No, it'd be good to keep everybody on the same page. I appreciate that. So
I see one course in Minneapolis open for driving
did they?
Spring Creek or something.
Of course they are.
Mhm.
Well, there was customers that said that they can't get on lakes where they're from. Like, there's no ice yet
There's
down
no
there.
ice down there.
Oh,
So they're that far ahead of us.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they,
It goes that quick.
But they really didn't have that good ice anyways. in Twin Cities.
20, well,
Northern ice is far better ice.
they said that
Yeah.
at the peak, there was 22 inches.
Yeah, that's.
On their
still-
lakes.
That's still a lot.
But they've had such weird weather that
Right,
they've had rain and
They, actually,
and that's what it was. And everything else.
anything else worth missing?
nope.
Questions for golf course? Good. Thank you. We got anything from the library?
No, Kelly and I had talked after the work session, and I sent the, estimate that you guys reviewed at the work session. I need you to approve tonight to Melissa Wetley, and, they're gonna have it on the agenda on the 20th. And we've been reaching out to Tony, trying to align a meeting with him after all the approvals so that we can get a timeline together. So I'm just waiting to hear back from him. So tonight, all I'm asking, Max, is that the council formally approve the estimates so that we know we're on board.
Okay.
I'm anticipating that KRLS will approve it and then subsequently send us the money. So we'll put it in our project fund so that we can pay Tony as the project progresses.
Well, I move we approve the Blackduck Public Library renovation estimate. Do you need a number on that?
Yes.
Yes, of 58,000.
Motion to approve the estimate. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. On to the administrators report.
So the first item I have under me is I've invited Ben Vanderhoff from the Shade Store, and Scott Peterson is here because he's been on the phone and talking with everybody in the community since their closure announcement. Myself and Scott and Max were able to meet with Ben when the announcement came out and got some details, but I figured it would probably be best if everybody in the city had a good understanding of, you know, what's progressed since the announcement and anything else that they may have questions of from Ben, because it's a fairly large hit to the city in many different ways. You know, from the people that are losing their jobs to how it affects the city's budget. And if there's any questions, I think that would be best. I think, Ben, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I've got you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. I'm just for you at this point, and we can just have a group conversation.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't have a specific agenda for attending. I just knew this meeting was happening. We are very cognizant of the impact this will have on the town and the community, and thought it best to just be here, as Christina said, to answer questions if there are any, and I'm glad to answer and field whatever I could. I know Scott had some updates as well, and I can potentially just piggyback some information onto that as things are kind of constantly evolving as we work through this.
Are we any closer to finding a buyer for the factory?
Scott, I don't know if you want to field that, but I can kind of give an update as to where we're at. I know Scott's been working hard to work the phones and reach out to any connections he has. Just for a general note, we are going to be engaging with a industrial realtor out of central Minnesota to help list this, to basically engage and try to find potential buyers. They have a network, obviously, in the area, and they're already teeing up some potential prospects as well. So we'll have him walking through the building later this week, and we should hopefully have it listed by the end of the week would be the goal.
Okay, because that's different from what we originally heard.
Yeah, so this is again that what was originally told is still holds from the financials of what the company is trying to do with this. The intent here is to just drive interest and make sure that we're getting word out to everybody available.
And Ben, you can't see me, but this is Scott. And so is it just the plant that's going through the broker?
We will list all the parcels. I believe 9 total parcels. We'll list them all.
Will they be listed as one, or can they be purchased separately?
Whatever makes the most sense. I know you said, I got your note, Scott, and we exchanged the emails. So if you have someone looking to do all of it, we would absolutely, obviously, that's probably ideal, as long as they can keep everything operational or have the best prospect. So that's what we're gonna be weighing here most of all, is how quickly we can get somebody into the building. What the future prospects are for the building under that potential new ownership.
Do you
So
know
we
the
can,
name of the realtor?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The name of the realtor?
It'll be under Collier's. I do have the name. We haven't gone under official agreement yet. As soon as I do that, I can send it over to you. We literally just met with him this afternoon. Let me get the agreement signed off, and then I can pass that information over to the council.
So with all of that said, in conversations that I've had with folks, I'll try to give you the short version. Short version is there is interest in purchasing the quilt store. There is interest in purchasing the old Legion building, and there is interest in purchasing all of it.
Okay, so that would mean that, excuse me, that all the parcels included with the quilt store be running through an industrial realtor also?
They'll be listing everything. There's also the part of the additional reason we've engaged them is this is not our forte of knowing how to handle real estate. So we're going to need someone to act as a broker no matter what, just to handle a transaction. So yes, they'll be listing all of them. And again, if we get independent buyers for individual pieces of it, we'll absolutely entertain that.
So you're saying there's interest in these parcels individually, the former Legion building, not the old Legion building, that's a negative way of saying it. It's the former Legion building.
Former Legion.
It's very nice. And as well as the quilt store, as well as there's interest in the entire package, is that right?
Correct.
And Collier's is a well-known industrial and commercial realtor, so you'll be in good hands if you have them listed. It's definitely not a regional company.
Yeah, and that's our hope. And this is a group that specializes in this type of transaction. So again, they have a network that they can tap into. Because we would obviously love nothing more than someone being able to bring a new owner who's actually going to turn it into an usable space and make it functional.
Then can you touch on the human aspect and the employee side without being too detailed as to how your staff is coping through this?
Yeah, I mean, I think how they're handling it speaks volume to just the character of the people. I mean, they've handled it with grace. Obviously, this is hard and devastating news, and not lost on us how much it impacts everyone. But they're showing up, they're doing their jobs, and they're keeping pace. And I've been wildly impressed over the past couple weeks. So we're reaching out to them. We've held 2 seminars now. We'll be holding a third one with Deed. I believe that's scheduled for tomorrow, actually. So we've done just kind of did a coping session of how to deal with this type of stuff, which I know people might have mixed opinions on, but it's a service we wanted to offer. We are doing career aspects, so resume writing, things like that. We'll be trying to coach people through that. We will be doing a job fair once we can align with the local. That's part of what Deed is coming in for. So their initial assessment tomorrow will be around trying to get employees to fill out a short survey that gives identification of just kind of what general skills are, what the demographic is. And if we can get enough people to fill out those surveys, that will obviously impact how we can help recruit and get local businesses to attend a fair, offer up things. And there also are some state level grants, depending upon the impact that Deed could help facilitate application for. And those would be tied to new job training and things like that to help anybody that's been displaced.
Have you had much staff take the relocation option?
That decision is actually not due until tomorrow, so I don't have any
Okay,
notification
sorry.
on that. No, We've had a few interests. I'd say probably about a handful have offered up questions on it, so probably to be expected that that's about the level it would be.
Can I ask, how many other locations would they have the option of relocating to? How many different locations?
There's 3 facilities, but only 2 geographies. So Southwest Virginia and around just north of Fort Lauderdale in Florida. By the way, I guess maybe I should take a step back too, because I'd probably be remiss if just not acknowledging. I said it to the council when I met with them. I've obviously said it to the employees, just understanding and recognizing the impact. Just want to highlight that we understand it. I know it's lip service and it doesn't sound like it does much, but we are committed to trying to do everything we can to facilitate the best outcome for this, for the community, whether that be through the property, how we're working with the employees. And if there are suggestions of things that we're missing or could be doing differently, we're absolutely open to that.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Scott, is there any other details you could
No,
provide, or
that,
is everything just super vague right now?
it's super vague, but I'm glad Ben was here to be able to help answer the questions that I had. So because that kind of helps me help the others that are interested.
Okay.
So yeah, right now I don't have anything else to add.
Hey, Scott, one thing I'll note is that with your permission, once we get the contract signed with the realtor, my intent was to put him directly in touch with you.
Yes, that'll work.
Okay. And if there's anybody else that would like that contact, glad to provide it.
Yep.
Any other questions?
We can see what happens here.
Kind of early.
Yeah, but we're kind of. See what happens the next week or so.
There'll be another update for us, Scott, at the
Yeah, I
work
think,
session.
I think once it gets listed and there's a little more known on how this can all proceed, I'll be able to have a better idea of what folks want to do and what's happening.
Yeah, that's a good comment as well, Scott. Just obviously by listing it, we'll be getting a lot of the information out there that I know any potential buyer is going to want to see. So we'll try to get as much published around that square footage, total parcel size, things like that, that can actually help facilitate any sort of transaction.
What about content? Is everything that's in there is it gonna be all taken, like desks and cubicles and tables and everything gone, or?
The intent is for everything out of the factory, correct? The quilt shop, again, our hope is that we can find somebody who wants to buy it as is and take over ownership and allow that to continue functioning. There are, I guess, I'll caveat that there are items in the factory that would not need to be removed if a potential buyer wanted to take that, but we'll include that in the listing. I'm thinking things like racking and things like that would be potentially functional, but all the equipment will be pulled, yes.
Thank you, Ben, for joining. I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking,
Absolutely. Please reach out if anything and come up.
and keep in touch in the
Yep.
future.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, Christina, I hope the rest of your report run is.
Okay.
That was informational.
Every information
Everything's
is
information.
power.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Oh,
my next item is just to continue our citywide cleanup event conversation from the work session. When we left the work session, we agreed to move forward with some type of option that could still involve a curbside pickup. But yet a contracted version of it instead of using volunteers. I have spoken with John's Refuse, and as a commercial vendor, they cannot do that as a service. And I've gotten a connection to a gentleman that has a business, is called Colt's Dumpsters. Spoke to him, basically his system is he's got a dump truck and a roll-off that he pulls, and he can fill his stuff up, and then he brings it to the Bemidji transfer station because they have a sorter. The Blackduck station doesn't have a sorter. He is interested in participating, but he's a one-man show. He doesn't really have the manpower to take the items from the curb and put them in the bin. So if the city wanted to progress in that venue, we'd need partnership from either city staff or volunteers to help load it. By the conversation he and I had, he recommends, 2 to 3 dumpsters, 20-yard dumpsters. They're $8.25 a piece. Which he offered to like stage on city property. So like the scrap metal can go in one and the other stuff can go in the other 2. And then you charge us by the 20-yard dumpster. I told him we had a meeting tonight and we could discuss that, because it's all up to what, if the city wants to spend anything on it. Again, I spoke with Peg from John's Refuse today. She solidified that yes, their business can't offer this as an event service just because of their commercial status and the way they get charged from the transfer stations for,
Okay,
putting their stuff away.
so you get a little bit of a.
Yep.
Yep.
And there's just different charges based upon who's doing it. Ultimately, Peg said the least expensive, best route is to continue doing it the way we are doing it. Because as volunteers and residents, we already pay for it. We can bring the items up to the transfer station to Blackduck without any charge unless it's individual specific items that we've been talking about, like the tires and stuff like that. Scrap metal, they don't charge. But ultimately, like when Mike was here, he's like, you want to keep that scrap metal? We'll keep the scrap metal. So I'm kind of putting it back on your ballpark. If you want to spend the money, we've got a couple of options. If you want to keep it volunteer, you can keep it the same way we've done it. If you want to eliminate it completely, and I'll start finding everybody that can't clean up their yard, I'll do that. But based upon the conversation we had at the work session, the planning commission that's had a conversation, and the whole discussion from last year's event, we either need to jump off the cliff now and go one way or the other.
Well, I think whatever we, like, it looks like it was there.
$8.25 a dumpster.
That's
And it would also depend on where you stage them, because as Mike correctly said last time, when he ordered the dumpster to clean out the former lumberyard, former LEC Law Enforcement Center. I mean, I saw the dumpster there. I drove by that evening and it looked like a furniture store had been assembled outside the dumpster. People don't even throw it in. They just slow the pickup down and throw it off. So you're gonna have dumping of quote illegal stuff that we don't want.
Yeah, I mean,
If we stage them maybe at the
at the public works or
public works.
at the public works facility would be the best
Yeah.
location to
Something
do it. But
visibly visible. from
it'll
the
still
street.
happen unless they're staged there for a number of days. So I loved the idea that Mike shared with the city of Twin Valley. I looked into it. It looks really great, but they also have a really good partnership with that hauler out there too, so it works for their community.
Thoughts, John?
Well, thanks.
I mean, there's two questions. Do you want to continue it?
Yeah,
Yes or no?
I do, and I think. I
Then
think
you
it's
need
an
to decide
important-
how you want to go
I think
forward.
it's an important thing for the community. I think it's a good thing. It just,
Well, there's a lot of people that can't,
yes,
they don't have the means to get stuff to the. dumpster sites.
and that, I guess, has to outweigh the ones that are abusing it.
And there's a lot of
There's
yards
gonna-
cleaned up too.
There's gonna be that, no matter what we do. You guys wanna do it one more year? The way we've been doing it?
Sure. I think what we should do is try to reach out to a couple other haulers and get some quotes, because
Us strapping it down wasn't doing it for you?
not really,
Yeah.
you know, my thought is that I don't
Rip
hate the
old
idea,
trailers.
see, I don't hate the idea of having Colt drive with them and then us throw some stuff in it, because throwing it in isn't the problem, it's getting rid of it, that's the problem. You know, it's us going to Blackduck, can't get to Blackduck, go to Bemidji, have to sort everything, have to throw everything out, that's the.
Way, relay, yeah.
Yeah,
It was a,
it's an in-depth process, right? And so, you know, I'd like to check with a couple other haulers, because $875 for a dumpster times 3 versus we give this guy $1,000 and a pickup, and then we pay the tippage, or $1,000 in like a flatbed straight truck, something like that. So. And then maybe it's a first come, first served basis. That way it's, well, we
you
can.
can't have all that stuff out on the curb. and
Well-
then say we're gonna pick it up and then
Yeah,
don't pick it up.
So why couldn't you guys get into Black Duck last year?
Well,
We went
yeah.
there.
it
Well, I
was
mean,
full.
but they sent you to Bemidji.
Yeah, it was,
So they were full.
yeah, the dumpsters were full.
So is there a way you could let them know in advance, so you don't have to?
Right.
It was that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
oh.
I would say the best way to avoid that is not to do it on a Saturday.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna say-
I agree.
It would have to be done during a weekday when the transfer station is open more than 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because everybody takes care of their household garbages on Saturday when they're not working.
Yeah,
So my first thought was do it on a Thursday. That
One of your
instead
city
of
boys
Friday.
are around too, if you need help with the trailer, or you need to take a load up and come back and do another one. You
Yeah.
know, it's.
My other thought in trying to develop a little bit better way for residents to sign up is I could create a jot form. It's free. You know, I can create it so that the listings of stuff that's allowed, they'd have to fill in, and
Yeah.
then I would get that emailed to me. So the only way to fill it, that way there would be maybe no breaking communication. That doesn't stop people from putting things on the side of the curb that we can't take.
no, but
But it might be a little bit clear, and with the volume of calls and traffic that we get here at City Hall, I know that Paige and I have probably missed somebody in the last year. So, you know, by no fault of us, it's a human error, but maybe that might help resolve some of that. And job forms are easy and they're free.
yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
And I think there was a lot of miscommunication last year with some of the people because we said we couldn't take some stuff and they said, well, they said at City Hall that we could.
Yeah,
Yeah, and whether that's
And-
actual or.
And we don't know
Yeah,
right,
who to believe.
right.
so, no, I think that's a very good idea, Christina. I
And there was
really
a lot
do.
of negative.
So you wanna do it on okay, so you got a Thursday, that's it. We could probably make something work.
Yeah, I can
So-
make that work.
When I looked at the calendar, drafting up a flyer, I put down May 15th. That's the Thursday between Walleye Opener and Memorial Weekend. We would have usually have done it on that Saturday, I believe.
Then that, yeah,
Because doesn't the chamber do citywide garage sales that weekend? Usually,
when's graduation?
not till like
I'm
June
not gonna,
something.
I won't be here then.
We will be out of town.
Either way, I mean, Hopefully we'll get enough volunteers to do it. But,
Yeah. Hi.
right. But if it's on a weekday, you know, I have more opportunity to be here on a weekday than on a Saturday. So we might be able to get a different group of us together to help. I mean, I'm not gonna ask somebody to take a day off from work to do it, but it's probably the most cost efficient way to continue doing it.
Okay. I think let's
Move forward, set the
Move.
date, don't go,
Okay,
don't go with a hauler,
Yeah,
do the job form.
yes,
Okay. One of the things that Colt stated to me that he would have had to admit would have been batteries, tires, and appliances. So we had a conversation about appliances,
yeah,
and I said, what's your definition of appliances? Because boy, we went rounds and rounds on this.
yeah.
I said, from a small toaster to a fridge, what's the difference? And he said, they look at it all the same.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of things that gets omitted. E-waste would be separate.
was a blend is the same as your fridge.
Wow.
Yes,
Oh, they both have electronics.
right.
Yeah,
So those are, I think those are things that are gonna end up getting omitted.
Washing machine,
Well, yeah,
they're
yeah.
dirt in washing machines.
So what I was starting to put on my flyer was that we would not accept scrap metal appliances or lumber.
I mean,
I have,
If you wanna get that out of people's yards.
I mean, that's what.
that's what kicks me, you know, I want to keep doing it, but it would be nice to have just a little bit more community buy-in with it. Where maybe we could have a couple of more people helping with it.
Yeah, more community
See,
people.
because,
Yeah,
not
no, that
just
first year when we were
council.
sitting down here and Kurt Benson and Mouse were down there and
I'm senior.
me and
yeah.
My truck and trailer.
Jason Cole.
Mhm. Yep.
I think Paige showed up for a little bit,
Yeah.
maybe. But anyway, well, we were down there and you had people that were bringing, they did bring their appliances, the dead freezer that didn't
Yeah.
work anymore.
Yeah.
That's what we mostly hauled. was
Yeah.
All of dead freezers and.
Yeah.
Fridges and stuff.
It was.
That crazy, the
Yeah.
appliance,
So can you-
actual appliance.
Did they say that you could put appliances in one of those,
See,
bins?
No,
You
I
can't put them in
think
there either?
the confusion is the counties put a little bit, lot more restraints on what they have to charge the residents for removal and the.
So it's no
contracted-
charge for me to bring my, you know, we bought a new stove, I bring my stove down
But
there.
if you're a commercial hauler. Yes,
You're talking
Yeah, and
appliances at
There's a
30
difference.
bucks a piece,
Yeah.
or
yeah.
40.
yeah,
And
it's like
that's-
we had this conversation 2 weeks ago about the tires. You can do 4 as a resident without
Yeah.
any charge. With no rims, right? No rims,
Yeah, no
yeah, with
rims.
no rims.
Yeah.
But if you have your tires done by Rudy's Repair, Rudy's gotta charge you because he's the vendor,
Or you could take your tires with you.
or you can take your tires.
And stack them up in your yard.
No, then.
No.
then you- Sorry, you just, well, they charge you five or
You could use those
$6 or $7.
And fill them with dirt, yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, I don't know. It's,
So when I was drafting
It's
the
a
flyer
circle that
before I
just-
talked to Colt, I used a lot of the language that I got sent to me by Mike that Twin Valley did, and one of the things they did, John, when you hear this, is they had in there that their public nuisance committee would be touring the following week, and to avoid
Hmm.
fines, please take part. So I kind of
Yeah,
changed the language a little bit because our planning committee will do a blight tour. And I wrote in there that they'd be doing property inspections and a blight tour on May 21st. To avoid any fines or citations, please dispose of any unwanted or nuisance items during the cleanup day.
that would be great.
And I thought that language was great.
Yeah.
Whether or not it gets listened to, I
Well,
no, I
can't
think
back up,
it sounds wonderful.
you know, and if, I mean,
And
Mike said that theirs is great, but honestly, I think doing the blight tour afterwards, John,
I think that's,
will help, because
Reasonable.
last year what I did was, we did the blight tour first, anybody that was really bad, I sent the letters out, I said partake in this.
you know,
And maybe this way it'll go a little better.
and honestly, I wouldn't, depending on what our agenda looks like, I wouldn't hate doing two.
Mhm.
You know, we could do one
But like a
before,
follow-up,
exactly.
sure.
You know, something where we can identify the worst of it and then send out letters, hey, this is what's going on. This is what you can put in there, and
Okay.
then afterwards we go back through and do another one.
Well, at least in this format, if I stick the job
Yeah.
form link in here, people can click on it on Facebook and actually
You know,
register, so maybe it'll make
yeah,
my life a little easier and everything else.
But it's a
well,
good thought.
get everything kind of consolidated. and-
Thanks, Max.
I'm
I'm
here.
trying
I
here.
got your back.
I'm trying here.
Just an optimist tonight, isn't he?
Well,
Full of good news.
again, we're having this discussion early enough where
Yeah, we have things.
maybe it'll get some legs
Yeah,
as the month progresses, so,
I'm all for me.
yeah.
okay. So, enough of that.
All right. You got a plan, we'll at least a little further.
Very good. Next item I need approval, the next item I need approval of is the, annual appointments and designations. I need version 2 approved, as Max has accepted, was on the board for the HRTC now. And I listed that as an additional. It's on page 5 now, it was never there. And knowing now that that's something they really require, I'll keep that going forward. There should always be
Yeah, it's in their bylaws.
a representative there.
That it's either appointed by or it is the.
Okay, so there's no way you can sit in that chair and say you can't do it. Because that's what's happened before. And then it's sat empty for the
And
HODC, so
we don't want
you
that,
assume the role.
we don't want that emptiness.
No,
We want a seat at that table.
yes, please. So if I could have you guys approve this, that would be fantastic, please.
I move to approve resolution 2025-01. Revised resolution of annual appointments and designations.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye,
I,
opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Item D, we are ready to approve resolution 2025-03, as Mr. Hanson has officially taken possession of the property.
Making progress.
Yep,
Good for him.
yeah. And then I will start working with him to get that section of property conveyed. I've already talked to a couple people at the state, and I saw Garrett today, so we'll keep the wheels turning. Hopefully it won't take as long as the co-op did.
Again. Can I get a motion, please?
motion to approve the resolution 2025-03 for conveyance of rail bank property to Jarrett Hanson.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye,
I,
opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
I have a few dates to note. This Friday, March 14th, City Hall will be closed. Paige and I both have personal reasons. We need vacation dates. DMV at the state has approved it, so I'm closing doors on Friday.
Getting us started on St. Patrick's Day.
I don't know. Celebrating Steve's birthday and stuff.
Yeah.
March 19th will be the planning commission's meeting. March 24th is the council work session. April 7th is the next regular council meeting. And as a reminder, again, April 25th is the local board of appeal and equalization meeting with the county assessor's office. I don't have a whole lot of things to report to the council from this last month. We closed out February in the DMV sales. Between January and February, we exceeded last year's January and February. However, due in part to how wages and payroll were being coded in the DMV in 24, we didn't net as much revenue in the year-to-date between those two, but I fully expect that to pick back up, because anybody that needed their stuff done by February 28th, I know they're not all done, because we were overtly busy last week too. Monday and Tuesday were like $12,000 to $20,000 days.
Oh, I made a mistake. I went in the 20.
Did you? Yeah, we were busy. So we
But Paige-
appreciate
Paige actually-
everybody.
She did a great job. She's helping people register a trailer and brought me in.
I felt bad. That was the day I went down to Duluth for robotics. It was not the day to be gone, but she ended up sick last week, so I got Monday and Tuesday. But no, things are going good here. We had a little snafu the end of February with Paige's brand new monitor I bought a year and a half ago. Went out on us, so I had to replace it. So instead of doing 2 monitors, I did a larger monitor for her. Gives her the same screen viewing space, but once you've been able to manipulate with 2 monitors and have multiple applications going at one time, you just cannot go back. It's too difficult, not with the amount of traffic we have in here now. So the big curved one on her desk was a little unforeseen cost, but I think I got a halfway decent deal from MIS at the county for that. Otherwise, yeah, like Shonda said, the installation went well. I worked with Derek to get backup monitoring on my workstation. So if the con needs anything, if something's working bad with their workstations, or the department's emergency management needs anything downloaded, I can do that.
We've got a backup.
And you have a backup too. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And the other thing that we had Derek do was be able to put the application on the workstation in the off sale. So if somebody needs to see the monitors, they can do that in the
Yes.
off sale right now. It just needed to get put on the workstation that's up there.
Yeah, so at the bar right now, it is visible on the off-sale computer and then our office computer.
Yeah, which is
The one office. computer.
a big improvement from last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if there's any concern with somebody in off-sale, they have the ability to look back or to bring it to our attention. They can.
Sooner.
Yes.
Yeah.
They can actually click on it if there's somebody that walks in and they feel a little suspicious of, they can actually click on the camera and watch them
Without leaving
without leaving the
the point of
station.
sale.
Yeah. Point of sale.
I don't think of anything else to report? You guys have any questions for me?
Good.
Oh, the audit is almost done. Well, I shouldn't say that. Their work isn't done. I think mine is. This was a very difficult process for me. In history, when I have on-site,
You mentioned you came up with
when I have on-site and Miller McDonald would come, they would test for invoices to be paid on time. They would test deposits to be made appropriately. And I would have all my documentation up here for them to review. Because I did it remotely, I had that much more time involved. I had to take all of that stuff, scan it and upload it to their website.
okay, so is this something that has to be done every year? 'Cause it's
I don't
always-
know how to proceed after this. I want to see how it comes out before I give you that answer, Max, but I can tell you that at the end of the first week, I was pretty exhausted from doing it all. It was a lot harder. Me, Just
So
to
it's
go back
more
and find it.
expensive and
And harder.
More
Well, and
More time.
And
More
to,
time
to be
consuming.
fair to CLA, they are doing more because they're new. So they are starting from ground zero. They've gotten everything they could get from Miller McDonald, which wasn't easy. They were somewhat cooperative. Not very timely. I assume that's from their staffing. So, they relied very heavily on me to provide everything I had from history. Sometimes going back to 22. So that they could paint the correct picture of what they were trying to come to an understanding. And I did a lot more in the processes than I've done for Miller McDonald. I learned a few new things, like how I had you guys adopt that policy for the EFTs. And there's some things I'm gonna pay attention to a little bit differently. And I know they're not done. I have another meeting with them on Thursday morning just to make some follow-ups. They're just trying to put all the breadcrumbs together, you know, so that they can represent correctly. So they assure me that next year won't be as hard. But I don't know. I'll give it one more try. I'm not gonna rule it out because I'll work as hard as I have to in order to get them the right information. I'm very appreciative and grateful that I have paper trail for a lot of stuff. Because it's very difficult to pull an answer out from a year ago. Out of your memory. What happened? What did we do? All of that. Documentation is so incredibly important when this stuff comes up. There, now I'm done.
I'm-
I think.
if it helps, you know,
Sure.
we're gonna listen.
Sometimes it does. I'm over the anxiety of doing it at least. Yeah. It was a challenge.
I'm gonna take a minute and just congratulate my daughter, Rainey, who got Dean's List at Creighton University to be graduating this spring. Like, want to tell her congratulations. Bingo, 23rd, 1-4, that's fun. Anybody else?
So, we were out riding our bikes the last few days.
Nice.
Yes, so, yeah. It's a little hard in the spring to get back on a bike.
Oh, I'm sure there's rocks like crazy everywhere too.
So, and next block over on the corner, these people don't pick up their dog.
There's a lot of that around.
There's a lot of that around.
But if you, the whole block, the whole boulevard is just completely full of it.
I'll say something to Justin.
And the reason I know is Daniel rode his bike up on the curb and he fell down.
Oh.
And so I went over there.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went over there and it's, the whole boulevard is just full. I don't know if there's something.
I can talk to the landlord. Yep, I've already sent out a letter to another landlord and another resident in the last week now. It's,
Doggy bombs.
the snow is gone and all of the ickies that show up when the snow is gone shows up. So everybody can see it because it's not covered up in snow anymore. Out of sight is out of mind.
But
Appreciate that.
It is all over as well, or other locations.
Oh, yeah.
The water tower property.
Yep,
Might as
it's
well be
covered.
signage as
Yep.
dog park.
Yep,
I have seen countless dogs there, dozens, and
Yep.
I have never seen anybody with a green plastic bag.
nope,
It's a one-way trip for the
it's
dog.
there every year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So needless to say, I don't walk over there ever.
But the bike trails, I mean, they're pretty bike or the walking trail, it's. I thought it would be bad, but it's not that,
That's good.
they've been picking up the bike trail, there's only a couple of piles in the woods, but.
The people that
Thought there was-
don't do a good job, that are not good dog owners, find the places to hide, and the people that are, go to places where everybody else is, so they take care of it,
So,
because they know they have to. Be a good pet owner.
I did talk to one person, a renter, who admitted that he took the waste bags from the rest area. There's a dispenser in the rest area
Yep.
for waste bags.
Yeah.
He grabbed them and used them for his personal use on the water tower property, so that impressed me.
I don't know that that's.
When you get your groceries, you can use those,
Yeah,
there's all
any-
kinds of
any
things that you
little
can do.
baggies, yeah.
Yeah.
it's all in them.
We've
Oh,
given
I'm
them-
looking at you.
Yeah, we've given them away.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. No second that.
All in favor?
Alright.
Aye. We stand adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna bike after winter.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, and myself.
I forgot to bring that stuff that I was supposed to bring, by the way.
Oh, that's okay.
I'll try and narrow it down.
Okay.
We were really close. We almost went through all of them just in the minute that we were sitting there.
Okay.